Hi, my name is Sabrina Avian, and I'm here to present to you how to use Dubsado as a coach or a consultant in order to create a luxury level client experience. I'm so excited to share this with you. I've been using Dubsado for a very long time, and I have been setting up Dubsado for coaches and consultants. And so to be able to bring this to you is very exciting for me. So let's go ahead and dive in. Again, my name is Sabrina. I set up my Dubsado systems before I even landed my very first client. This is what makes me a system strategist to the core. I'm also a VIP day coach and I am a Dubsado queen. I've created Dubsado automated workflows for dozens of coaches and consultants so that they no longer get stuck in the manual system spaghetti that stagnates their earning potential. I fully believe systems are a form of self care and are essential for a scalable business and an experience that your clients will want to re-sign with, so that increases your retention rates, and an experience that they'll want to share with their community, which increases your client referral rates. I believe that systems are a form of self care because I believe that self care is an intention of your time. And when you take the time to create automated workflows inside of Dubsado, you are intending to free up plenty of time in the future. So it's absolutely self care. Additionally, it creates a scalable business because you can bring on more clients while doing less work. So you're bringing in more money while expending fewer resources, like your time. So that's the definition of scaling. And your client experience, clients will pay more for a luxury level seamless client experience. Something that's easy for them is also easy for you, and people pay more for ease. So I'm so excited to jump in and share all of this with you on how you can do this inside of Dubsado. So, a little overview of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about using Dubsado's lead capture forms to pre qualify your leads and get a heck yes even before the sales call. We're going to talk about how to use Dubsado's proposal, contract, and invoice combination to make a one-step booking process that screams luxury level programming. We're going to talk about what onboarding looks like for a high ticket offer from the moment a client wants to book with you. And then we're also going to go over how to use Dubsado workflows to create an offboarding sequence that increases your client retention and increases your client referral rates. So, just a brief overview of what a workflow can look like for a coach or a consultant is kind of broken down like this. Again, this is like super macro. This is not specific to how you need to do it. This is just generally how coaches or consultants like yourself work. So, first, we're going to have the lead capture form, which can also be called the application. And then in this presentation, I'm going to show you how I like to set up an application autoresponder to that lead capture form. And then typically you'll have a sales call with your lead. Once that sales call goes well, then we send them the booking packet. And I've put start of client workflow because we want to set up an automated process inside of Dubsado where you start the workflow sends the booking packet, which is the proposal, contract, and invoice. It watches for those things to get signed and paid, and then it automatically starts the onboarding process. And then you get to do the work with your client. And once that work is done, we can set up automations for the offboarding. So this is a seamless client experience that's automated through workflows. And I'm not going to talk about workflows, but I am going to talk about each step within these workflows that you can build out in order to create that luxury level client experience. So the first thing we're going to talk about our lead capture forms. This is a really great place to get the soft commitment from your client, to get a soft yes. So this is the most valuable and underutilized real estate in your client journey. Lots of people use a lead capture form just to get basic information from their clients, but we want to use this for so much more than that. Dubsado is incredible. Dubsado's lead capture capabilities are amazing. They're not like a Google form that people are just going to fill out information. We can make these robust, beautiful, and also capture the information that's going to really benefit us in qualifying a lead. So they should include educating your lead on your offer, gathering must have information, gathering marketing information, getting your lead emotionally invested before they even say yes to you. We want to win the self commitment on our lead capture, and we also want to set up an autoresponder. So when I say lead capture, I'm talking about applications for working with you, I'm talking about interest forms. All that is interchangeable. So educating your lead. So these are the things I'm going to go basically step by step of what you should have in your lead capture form or your application or interest form. Okay. So we obviously want to say who you are. Now, when someone's applying to work with you, more than likely they've already been on your website, they've already been in your social platforms. However, We still want to personalize the lead capture form. So we want to introduce your expertise and your commitment to your craft, and that's going to personalize it and it's going to bring people further into investing with you. We want to set the excitement. If you don't find joy in your offer, your leads won't find joy in your offer. More than likely, whatever you offer, you are really great at. And so hopefully that lights you up, that brings you joy. Dubsado is really great for being able to bring in your branding, right? Not a lot of CRMs can do what Dubsado does as far as being brandable. So we want to use copy and images to create the excitement of a lead's decision to inquire with you. So I'm talking about like the very beginning, setting up two columns, one with an exciting image of yourself and one with a message about you and your commitment to your craft. Then we want to use the lead capture form to set expectations. This is going to help leads self-qualify, right? So we are not getting on sales calls with people who are not ready to work with us because they don't understand the full scope of what that looks like. Your lead capture form is a perfect space to help them self-qualify, to set the expectations of what it looks like to work with you. So that includes how much time commitment it takes to work with you, what the price is, like what the investment, what they can expect the return on their investment to be. This is setting expectations for people. And then also what commitments and expectations they have to make outside of just like the time to work with you. Other things on your lead capture form that are must-haves are obviously getting like the base information. This is names, pronouns, email address, website, the obvious stuff. Like what do you need? Just like bare minimum, what do you need to communicate with them? Next, we want to gather social handles. So I am the queen of sleuthing before I get on a call with anyone. I want to connect with people on their social platform. If they filled out an application with me and I have not already connected with them, I'm absolutely going to do that. And I'm going to sleuth around. I'm going to see like who they are, what we have in common, be really prepared for the sales call. And then any other need information, right? What do you require? What do you require for working with you? Like, what are the basics? What do people have to already have done, or like personal, um, uh, like characteristics of a person that's going to work with you? What do you need to be open to? I have a client that we actually put. It was a like inclusivity disclaimer in her application, and you had to agree to the inclusivity disclaimer before you even got on a call with her. So you already had to be in the same kind of like general mindset and overall like moral and ethical alignment before even getting on a call with her. And I really love that. That was a needed information to determine whether it was a great fit. So these are all things you can do in your lead capture form. Okay, marketing information. This is a hot space for getting marketing information because someone is inquiring to work with you. More than likely, when they self qualify, they'll be a client. And so we want to know everything about why they reached out, when they reached out, what their goals are, so that we can speak to that. Because if they bought from us, then people who are in the same place as them, mentally, financially, physically, goal wise, we can speak to that to bring in more clients. So where are they currently? This is a hot real estate for understanding the profile of people who want to work with you, especially if they're booked, right? We just went over that. Where do they want to be? So we want to ask questions of where their goals are. Generally, leads and clients are coming to you for the same results and goal, but they're motivated by different things, right? So getting this information will allow you to speak directly to them. So these are questions like, where are you currently at in your business? What are your goals in the next 3 or 6 months? But we want to aim them specifically to what you do, right? So what are the goals in the next 3 months for your brand identity? What are the goals in the next 3 months for your life goals, right? If you're a life coach. Obviously, I'm speaking very generally, but you get the idea. We want to ask them questions where they're currently at, where they want to be. And we want to ask them why they haven't tried to fix this before. This is going to help you handle objections before the call, so in your marketing. Objection handling before the call will bring in more ready to buy clients. So if you know what the barriers have been for this person up until getting on a call with you, then you can speak to those barriers and you can get people who are on the same timeline. You can get them into working with you a lot sooner, if that makes sense. Okay, We also want to get people emotionally invested in working with us. Again, this is all in the application. We want to really use this hot real estate, right? So, why is now the perfect time to X, Y, and Z? X, Y, and Z is obviously your offer, your transformation, your program. Why is now the perfect time? Why, what makes now the perfect time? What was the final straw? What is their biggest motivator, right? We want this information so one, we can speak to the marketing, but two, people can start to get emotionally invested into this is why I need this now. What would happen if you didn't X, Y, and Z? This is another question we want to put in our lead capture. We're not fear mongering here, but we're getting a realistic realization of continuing on their current path without solving their problem, right? We want them to really see what would happen if they didn't work with you, right? How they would continue on their current path, which obviously isn't working for them, or they wouldn't have reached out to you. And now we want to imagine, get them imagining what it looks like to invest with you. Imagine your goal of X, Y, and Z was solved today. Help them feel into the results that you offer. Get them ready to say yes because you've already imagined what it felt like and what it's like to work with you and what it would be like to not work with you, right? That's what we did in the first two questions. We asked them, why is now the perfect time? And what would happen if they didn't? So now they're emotionally invested. Now, the commitment. So we want to lay out what is expected before we get a commitment from someone. So this is another self-qualifier. What is expected of the potential client when working with you? Do they need to be self-accountable? Is there a certain time commitment? Are you a nutritionist and they're also going to have supplement investments afterwards, right? We want to let them know ahead of time. If someone wants to get into nutrition, but they're absolutely not open to buying supplements before working with you, then that's a no-go, right? And that's something you want to know before you respond to someone to schedule a call. Because if this is a deal breaker, there's no point in getting on a call with someone who's not willing to invest in the supplements needed to get the results, right? I use supplements, but this can be anything. If someone is not ready to invest in anything that's going to help them get the results, we need to set that expectation ahead of time. What is the price point? Money is probably the biggest barrier and the number one reason sales calls will waste your time. You can get on a call with someone who wants everything that you're offering, but they can't actually make the investment, right? We need to set the investment commitment as a self qualifier. There's a couple ways to do this. Not everyone is comfortable putting their price point right on the application. So you can put a budget range in there. You can say, hey, this is a multi four-figure investment, or this is a $2,000 to $7,000 investment. You can put the actual price and just say, hey, this costs $7,000. Or you can put a starting point, right? The program starts at $2,500. Whichever you prefer, putting some kind of monetary expectation in your lead capture is going to help clients to self qualify. And then getting the commitment. Are they ready to work with you, right? Are you ready to invest $2,900 in your X, Y, and Z, which is the result? And then I always like to give them three different options. Yes, I'm ready to work with you ASAP. Yes, with a payment plan, or no, I'm not ready to invest at this time. So there's a couple of reasons to put this in here. One, you already know whether someone's going to need a payment plan or not when you get on the sales call. But inside of Dubsado's lead capture forms, you can actually have a response trigger a workflow. So say that we have someone who says, no, I'm not ready to invest at this time. This can trigger an automated response that says, hey, it looks like we're not a really great fit at this time, but here are some resources. So you're not even doing any more manual steps. You're not getting on a call with someone who's not ready to invest, but you are being supportive in that you're responding to their inquiry and you're letting them know some next steps that they can take if they're not ready to invest quite yet. The auto response. So if you aren't familiar, inside of Dubsado, you can set up a workflow trigger after a lead captured. So what I do is I create a workflow that just has a single email and it is a response to that application. So this is an autoresponder to an application and a lead capture form. This is essential, okay? Yes, the form is going to have a confirmation that it was submitted, but we need to go further than that, especially if you're selling high ticket as a coach or consultant. We want to get into their inbox. And so this keeps the time frame tight. It creates consistency around client experience that leads have with you. It creates confidence, right? Because people are like, oh, cool, yes, that she's got the form. And it creates confidence. It shows them that you kind of know what you're doing and that you can be there for support with them. So in that auto response, you can also set expectations of when you're going to get back to someone, whether it's in the next 24 hours or it takes you weeks to get back to someone, or you're not even looking at applications until the fall. These are all things that you can put into the autoresponder. And we don't want hot leads to be waiting on you because you can use tech as your virtual assistant, right? We don't need to be babysitting our inbox, waiting on the forms. Send them the autoresponder. This is a great space to continue the excitement of potentially working with you. So, what can you add to continue that excitement? Can you create a video that says, hey, thank you so much for applying with me. I'm excited to get back to you, blah, 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 set some expectations, get some face to face time. Can you include a free resource? Or is there like a 3 steps to X, Y, and Z that you can give them in the auto response so they can get a quick win and even further gain the confidence that you are the right person to invest in? You can also use this autoresponder to connect. So include a way to connect with you as like signing up for your email newsletter. Maybe it's connecting with you on your other socials or subscribing to your YouTube. Find a way that they can connect with you further beyond just the lead capture. All right, lead capture is done. They're a great fit. We have the sales call. Now it's time to book. So this is how we're going to present luxury level programming. We're going to use Dubsado's proposal contract invoice combo to set the tone. Now, I like to call this a booking packet because traditionally when we think of a proposal, we think of a pitch, right? Pitches are very in depth. There's like a ton of information, but generally speaking, for a coach or a consultant, you're going to use this as a booking packet, not as a pitch or a proposal. So this is where a lot of times coaches or consultants will jump into Dubsado and they'll be like, oh, I don't need the proposal. But what Dubsado does is it uses the proposal to trigger automations and to be able to fill in the smart link information throughout the contract and through the invoice. So you have to have this proposal in order to build out the automations that are going to create an elevated, seamless client experience. But we just call it a booking packet. No big deal. So your booking packet should include aligning out on the overview, the benefits, and the return on investment your clients are going to get. That's part of the proposal part. It's also going to include social proof and gathering the information that you need, and then what's next and what they can expect in working with you. That's the proposal part. Then there's the contract, which is lining out the legal terms, and then obviously getting paid, which is the invoice. So we're going to dig into all of these bullet points. So the proposal, this is where we're going to line out the benefits, the overview, and the return on investment. So include an exciting welcome and the benefits of working with you right at the beginning. Do you have a return on investment case studies? Like, can you link out to a case study where someone has made 3 times their investment after 2 weeks of working with you or something like that? Do you include any guarantees? This is a really great place inside the proposal because it will let you know. A lot of people will say yes and they'll get to the proposal part and then they'll drop off. They'll get cold feet and they won't move forward. So even though they've already told you yes and you send them the booking packet, we still want to really lean into the ROI, the benefits, like what they're going to get. So that would include using social proof, right? Like I said, many leads fall through the crack here because they haven't actually paid you yet. So we want to include in testimonials, link to case studies, things that are going to show people that they're making the right choice. And then obviously we're going to gather the information. So what you need to outline, what they need to know, include bullet points or columns of what's next. So the way that I break down my proposals is going to be the intro and the excitement and the ROI. Then typically I have like the overview of the actually, I think I might go into this later, but I have an overview of what's included in working with me, a testimonial, and then the booking steps. First, accept this proposal. Next, move on to the contract and make sure you sign it. Third is paying the invoice. All right. Make it epic. It's Dubsado. Use it. Create background images. Purchase a template from one of the providers that creates one-click proposal templates. Use blocks and colors and columns and images. All the beautiful things that Dubsado can do in their proposals. Make it elevated, make it engaging, make it visually stunning. You have that ability inside of Dubsado. So many other platforms do not have that ability, so use it, but keep it concise. Yes, make it epic, but that doesn't mean add a bunch of fluff. This is basically notched down in what you need in your booking packet, which is again not the proposal, right? We're not pitching. We're just engaging. We're getting them to fill out the proposal so that we can we can initiate the automations and the autofills throughout the contract. So things to include are the welcome and the intro, testimonial social proof, the overview of the program and description of the what Dubsado calls a package, but what that might be is your program, what the next steps are to book, and then gather the information that you need. So you should already have their name and their email, but potentially you need their address and any other like pre-information that you need for booking. Next, you're going to move on to the contract. Now, contracts are snore fests. They're snore fests, but Dubsado gives you ability to brand your contract. This is not just a DocuSign that gets sent out. So infuse your you-ness. Use the boring stuff. Add some flair. They're investing in you, and the more you infuse your you-ness throughout the client experience, the more confident people are in the investment that they've chosen to make with you. So in the contracts, you can use images, you can use copy, you can like change up the branding, like really make the contract a beautiful piece of the process. Use smart links. Again, it's Dubsado. Use it. We don't want to be editing contracts. This is what knocks out, like, this is why Dubsado makes client onboarding so efficient because you don't have to sit there and edit things, right? So you want to use smart links for start dates, for payment plan schedules, for client information, all that jazz. I love the smart link feature for the payment plan schedule because a lot of coaches and consultants I work with, if they have a payment plan, they'll write out, okay, you agree to the terms listed below, which is like pay this much on this date, pay this much on this date, and they'll edit those manually. No, Dubsado does that for you. If you've set up your package and your payment plans, then you can just put it right there automated inside of the contract, and it's great, it's beautiful. Okay. And then with a contract, use a reputable source. Don't write your own contracts. Use a reputable contract source specific to the place that you're doing business. The things that you need in a contract in Canada are different than things that you need in a contract in the US. So make sure that you're getting a very solid contract and covering your bases legally. Again, third part of that booking packet is the invoice. Don't sleep on this step, y'all. So you can use a connected payment source, right? You can use Stripe, you can use PayPal, you can accept ACH payments. So also, Dubsado just started the autopay feature, which requires you can set it up so that the autopay is automatically turned on if you have payment plans. So it's auto drafting from the account, which is a massive upgrade and really exciting. Definitely connect the payment plan to the workflow if you're going to be using your workflow to reference those payment plans, and then obviously create reminders for your invoices. So these dig into a little more of the functionality of the invoices, but just be sure that you're connecting an invoice to your proposal, because here's the thing. A lot of times people will, when you don't use Dubsado, they send the contract and the invoice separately, and those gaps leave so much space for clients to drop off, to not come back, right? Dubsado has the ability to connect the proposal, contract, and invoice, so it's basically one step for onboarding. Be sure that you're not leaving the invoice for later, so that you're sure to grab clients when they're ready to work with you. All right, now they're ready to work with you. What is the next step inside of Dubsado? Is the onboarding. This is what I like to call high touch, low lift client experience. So inside of Dubsado, you can set up the workflows to feel very high touch. Clients are getting exactly what they need when they need it, but it's low lift because you're not having to step in, babysit your inbox, send manual invoices, create intake forms, none of that mess, right? High touch, low lift is very supportive onboarding where you don't have to do anything. So this is where you build the confidence your clients need when investing high ticket. When someone has very seamless and supportive onboarding, they're like, I made the right decision. So your onboarding should give all of the important information you need without overwhelming or confusing your client. It should gather information in a single email and a single step, and it should celebrate your client's choice to invest with you. It should also let the client know what's next and what to expect. If you haven't noticed by now, I have that term throughout my client onboarding. What's next and what to expect. You don't want to leave a client hanging at any point wondering what's next. Do I get an email next? Do I schedule our call next? How quickly are they going to get back to me? Especially if we're selling high ticket, you want them to know exactly what's happening and when it's going to happen. All right, so part of the onboarding, there can be a lot more in onboarding, but we're going to talk about welcome email and intake forms. So the welcome email, automate it. This is imperative, automate it. If someone pays to work with you, They need to be onboarded immediately. No waiting 2, 3 days, 24 hours to get an email of how they're going to work with you. Automate it in a workflow. Okay. What that looks like is um, creating a workflow where it sends the proposal, and then remember that's connected to the contract invoice. It holds the action until the contract is signed, it holds the action until the invoice is paid, and then it sends the welcome email. Keep the timelines tight. Use those hold actions inside of the Dubsado workflows in order to watch for those things to get done and then trigger the welcome email when they've been completed. Again, the smart links, baby, use smart links for including forms, if you're going to include a scheduler, etc. Any steps that a client needs to take inside of and there are right, there are some forms that you can include that you can't include other forms. There are some I don't want to call them restrictions, but guidelines for how many smart links you can include in an email. But when you can use them, please use them. And then, of course, what's next and what to expect. I like to say, if you confuse, you lose. Let the client know what's next and what to expect, because if you confuse a client, you lose the confidence that they had in investing with you. You lose the opportunity for them to say, yes, this is a great investment. I'm going to go tell my friends, right? Do not confuse them. Always let them know what's next. So, in a welcome email, you got to keep it short. Again, if you confuse, you lose. 1 to 3 steps in onboarding. That's it. Your welcome email should have 1 to 3 steps. If you have more than 3 steps that a client needs to take in order to work with you, then use a welcome packet linked inside of the welcome email. Dubsado has a great feature where you can upload like a welcome packet as a PDF, and then you can include that in the welcome email. Now, the reason that I say 1 to 3 steps in a welcome email is because you don't want a client to get an email from you and then completely overwhelm them. Clients are coming to you to solve a problem to make their life easier. Your onboarding process should not be harder. Now, you may have a number of steps in order that they need to take in order to onboard themselves. The reason I say to do a welcome packet is because people expect emails to be short, they expect welcome packets to be long. So in your welcome packet, you can get way bigger as far as like the steps that a client needs to take without them feeling overwhelmed. They also have the ability to bookmark that link, to like save it wherever they need to, depending on how you upload it. But definitely keep the email short, and you can get the steps to 3. But if you can't, use a welcome packet. This is a great space to create excitement and to celebrate them. So you can create excitement with gifts. Honestly, it sounds really silly, but really infusing gifts into your emails is a really great strategy for like infusing your eunice and for like creating emotion in an email. Or you can send an actual gift. So maybe you have one of those really great Starbucks QR codes that you can insert into there, and you can say, "Welcome. Here's a free Starbucks drink on me." Use the PS section. Let's be real. People don't read. A lot of people don't read. So we want to create a second abbreviated checklist of the onboarding requirements at the bottom. So typically what that looks like when I create an onboarding process for a coach or consultant is the excitement, welcome, you're officially in the program, or you're officially, scheduled your consulting session. And then it's now your next steps are to 1, 2, 3, the 3 things that they need to do. And it's like, I'm again so excited to have you. Here's a coffee on me. With gratitude, Sabrina. At the bottom, as a reminder, once you've completed this, you're officially onboarded. That's it. Just abbreviated like checklist at the bottom, okay? Because a lot of people don't read and they'll just go to the bottom, but you really want them to get the onboarding sessions done. Okay. You may have an intake form in your welcome email. This is where you want to get all of the information you need. So part of that is going back into old email exchanges with past clients. If you're ready to set up this process in Dubsado, review past emails and make a list of all the things that you've ever gone back and forth about what you need from a client. Collect everything you need in this one step, in this one intake form, everything. No more going back and forth with clients. Again, they hired you to solve a problem to make their life easier. So we don't want to go back and forth on emails to get information. Checklist. Create a checklist for them in the intake form. This is something a lot of people don't do. They go beyond the questions. What steps does your client need to take? I love to use the checkbox feature inside of Dubsado in order to be sure that my clients are taking the steps that they need to take. For example, if they need to sign up for my Facebook community, then I will have, I'll have a section for all of the information I need from them, and then a section for the things they need to do to get themselves onboarded in the program. So it's can't think of the word right now, but it is applying for the community program, right? So you can link to the Facebook group and then have like the join button, right? And then on the intake form, it's like connect with us on the community platform, and then checkbox, check here once you've done that. So cool, I've applied, check, done that. Sign up for your course platform, okay? Link out to the course platform, have a little checkbox, check here once you've signed up for the course platform, check. So you can use that intake form to create the onboarding checklist for your clients so they're getting it done in real time. This is something that I don't know if anyone else does this, but it's a strategy that I use that I love, and it makes sure that your clients are doing the things they need to do before working with you. On the intake form, make it so obvious, y'all. Make every part of it very obvious and easy for your client to fill out. So define the requirements in your onboarding process on the intake form. For example, if you are a branding consultant and you need the current hex codes for your client or their preferred, color codes, then you need to show them exactly how to find those hex codes and what format to type that out in. What's beautiful about the forms in Dubsado is that you can take a screenshot of how they can find that, right? And you can do two columns. You can do one of the pictures with a screenshot of how to find their hex code, and then a bullet point description of how to find it and how to format it, like hashtag and then 6 zeros or whatever. Break down your intake forms so that your clients find it very easy to give you the information that you need. Assume they have no idea what you're talking about, and then create the descriptions, the guides that they need in order to fill it out. Okay, so we've had the lead capture, we've had the booking packet, we've onboarded our clients, we did the work in between, which is also obviously very specific to what you do. So I'm not going to go into how to create like the touch points inside of that. But now we've done the work with our clients and it's offboarding time. So offboarding is a great place to increase client referrals and retention. This is the most forgotten about step in the client journey process. Most coaches and consultants that I've worked with know exactly how they work with how they bring their clients on board and how they work with them. When I ask how they offboard them, there's usually no process. They just don't work with them anymore. So let's use Dubsado's features in order to create offboarding and what I like to call offboarding plus. So offboarding should gather more marketing information. It should allow a client to easily work with you again. It should support the client's exit and then ask for the referral or referral partnership, because you're not going to get that unless you ask. So again, this is going to increase retention opportunities and referral opportunities. Okay, offboarding. We want to gather that marketing information. This is the juice, because now you've already gotten marketing information for the people who are interested in working for you, how you can speak to them. You've gotten marketing information from the people who've already chosen to buy from you, right? And now, so this is the spot of like the people who've already worked with you. Use an exit form to confirm their exit and get the marketing information. You want to ask questions that directly relate to the outcome that you offer, right? So you want to gauge the results, gauge the success of your offer. The way that I like to do that is not by saying, hey, did I meet your expectations? Or was there anything that you would change about this? Or what was your favorite part? Like, those are so broad, overused, not specific enough to actually get information that you can market or you can improve with. So what I like to say is, what are you promising? What are your results? What is the end goal? And then ask questions directly to that. So for example, I have a VIP day where I set up the Dubsado workflows for you, right? So part of that promise is that at the end of our VIP day, you are going to know exactly how to use Dubsado. You're going to know exactly how to initiate a workflow. You're going to know how to troubleshoot a workflow, right? So in my exit form, I'm going to have a gauge on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in using your workflows? Now, and then after that, I say, all right, if it was under an 8, please elaborate. If someone is not an 8 or above confident in using their workflows, I want to know why so that I can change up my VIP day. I can add support. I can add information in order to make sure everyone after a VIP day with me knows exactly how to use their Dubsado workflows. So, this is what I'm talking about. Figure out what your end result is, what your commitment, what your promise is, what your results are, and ask questions specific to that so that you can actually make changes. Then you want to add questions specific to whether they feel like they've reached their goal with you, right? So that you can use that in your marketing. Ask for the testimonial with consent. So, create a free response. Most of the time, a lot of people will have like feedback questions, and then at the end, they'll include, "May I use this, in my marketing?" I want you to have a specific space for a testimonial. Make space for the testimonial, and then under that, have a drop down question inside of the Dubsado form that says you can use my name and image for this testimonial. You can use my name. Well, okay. The question is, how may I share the information above? You can use my name and image. You can use my name or anonymously, please. And those are the three ways that you can share testimonials on your socials, on your website, through emails, and you know exactly how you can share it, either just their name or their image, or you don't even put anyone's name there. Offboarding, we want to include supportive offboarding assets. So, what does your client need after working with you? How can you further support them? Is this community access to an alumni group? Are there videos? So, for me in my VIP days, I have a video library that my clients can watch. Is it a checklist? So, if you are a consultant that sets up, I don't know what that would be. If you're consulting on something that is Google Ads, for example, and you know that your clients need a checklist of like what to look out for in the future, how to gauge their results, then you can create a checklist for them. So this is part of your onboarding. What do your clients need in order to maximize their results and success after working with you? That should be part of your offboarding. Offboarding Plus. Offboarding Plus. So now you're done working with them. You've said goodbye, you've had the exit form. Now what? You just let them go? You do not. Now, what you do is you create an alumni group inside of Dubsado. So you use the project statuses to create an alumni group in the project status and send them long-term emails. So what that looks like for me is after I'm done working with someone, I will create a trigger an action inside of Dubsado to start the new workflow, which is the alumni workflow. And in that alumni workflow, I have an email that sends out in 3 months, an email that sends out in 6 months, an email that sends out in a year. I've done this for plenty of coaching and consulting clients where we set up these long-term email check-ins through an automated workflow. So you're able to check in with clients long-term without having to do any remembering of when to check in. You want to spread out the touch points, be strategic with the timeline. So when do people need a refresh after working with you? Typically, is it like in 6 months? Then you can get into another consultation session with them to like further progress them. When are they ready for the next level of support? So for example, if you're a business coach and someone takes your one-to-one coaching or your small group program or something, typically 6 months later, maybe they've built out a business that's strong enough to afford a mastermind investment. So you can touch base at 3 or 6 months and say, hey, usually at this point, my alumni clients are ready for the mastermind investment, and you pitch that to them. It's Dubsado, use it. Even though everyone may be an alumni, not everyone should get the emails, right? So use the require approval button inside of workflows to make sure you're stopping that 3 month, 6 month, 1 year email so you can do one of a couple of things. One, maybe they've come back within like 2 months and they're working with you, and then you get reminded. You're like, oh yes, I don't want to send them this email, and so you can delete the workflow, or you can just delete that email. Or maybe you really want to customize it. Maybe you saw that something incredible is happening in their life recently on socials, and so you want to use that require approval button. Which, if you're not familiar with what that does, in an automated workflow, the require approval button basically pauses. It doesn't pause the workflow. It like doesn't send the email or whatever you're sending automatically. It sends you a notice that says, hey, this action in the workflow requires approval. So that you can go in there, you can make edits to the email, edits to anything that you really need, and then hit approval so that it moves on at the time and with the information that you want. So require approvals, it's Dubsado, use it. All right, on the Offboarding Plus, include how they can work with you again. Oh, okay, yeah. So what is the next level in your product suite, or is there a downsell of how they can have access to you? So maybe they've already had gotten to the tippity top of your mastermind, and now maybe all they need is Voxer support, right? You can use the Offboarding Plus in order to pitch those things. You can include incentives like a limited time discount or bonuses available only to the alumni group. So this is how we're going to increase our retention rates. If a client isn't ready to invest big time with you, again, or they're ready to move on, they don't need that much accountability, then downsell them to the Voxer inside of your offboarding, excuse me. If you add a discount inside of there or some call bonuses only available to alumni. Again, that's another opportunity to retain these clients that only happens when you're having this supportive offboarding. And this is a great space to ask for the referral. So set up a referral process or just a simple email. Include your kickback. So if you, for example, I give 10% back to any of my referral partners. So I can either one, just send them an email and be like, hey, you're such an incredible client. I loved working with you. I love to work with more clients like you. Is there anyone that you know who could use a Dubsado VIP day? Simple email that's automated inside of my offboarding. I also have a referral program where I send basically a referral proposal and a contract, and people sign the contract, agree to be a referral partner with me, agree to get 10% back, and then I send them consistent emails updating them on what's going on inside of my business. So if you want referrals, you got to ask. Sometimes you don't, but a lot of times you got to ask. So this is a great space inside of Dubsado in order to pitch the referral, either singular to a client or getting them as part of your referral program. All right. So that is the end of how to use Dubsado as a coach or consultant. And again, we went over lead captures and how to pre-qualify or how your clients pre-qualify themselves and get a heck yes before the sales call. We talked about how to use Dubsado's proposal contract invoice combo to create a one-step booking process that screams luxury level because Dubsado allows you to brand it out, and it also consolidates those steps into one so you're not letting anyone fall through the crack. We talked about what onboarding looks like for a high ticket offer. Remember, we talked about very supportive email, what's next, what to expect, very concise, short, and then also getting all of your information that you need in one step so there's no annoying back and forth with clients. And then I talked about how to use Dubsado Workflows to create an offboarding sequence that increases client retention and referrals. We've got the basic offboarding, that's the exit form, and just letting them know how to work with us again. Then we've got the Offboarding Plus, which is more long term for alumni, touching base, getting that retention and that referral at different points in the client journey. So thank you so much for sitting through the webinar, for listening to all this. I hope this is information that you can implement into your coaching, into your consulting business today. And I know that if you follow these steps inside of Dubsado, you are absolutely going to reach higher income levels on retention, on referrals, and just basically be able to charge more because the client experience is a valuable space. I know for myself and I know for my clients that when we set this thing up, they often charge more. They often charge more for their program, not by including any more like deliverables, but just by taking these steps and elevating their client experience, they've elevated the value of their program. So again, thank you so much for sitting through this, and y'all have a beautiful day.